Hello to anyone who cares, my name is Silentesque, and welcome to Walk While My Grandmother Plays the Piano. Literally, the only thing this game is, I believe, unless I am being lied to, is you literally just walk while someone's grandmother is playing a piano, and that's the game. Which, you know, doesn't sound like there's a whole lot going on, but we're here for the experiences, you know? It doesn't always have to be something scary's chasing you, something's watching you from the darkness, or, oh look, I can go and collect a thing so I can unlock this door here and have fun. Sometimes, just having a nice little walk whilst listening to some music can be nice. So I thought we'd give it a go and just see how long we'll go for. This game is really deceptive though, because it started up like this, and I'll be damned if this doesn't look like the introduction to a horror game. Also, speed limit 25, I'm not going to be walking that fast. Oh, endless blackness. Okay. Let's start on our journey then. Oh, there we go. Ooh. You just walk, she'll play. Feel free to break any time you need. She'll wait. Okay. Nice. I'll walk backwards. Oh no, I don't like that. Don't walk backwards. Whoa. It might just be my mind playing tricks on me, but it really does sound like there's an ominous sound in the background when you're not moving. Pretty lights. There's no sprint, there's no crouch. You know? Just a lovely stroll. Grandmothers are great, aren't they? I suppose if you get the good ones. Not all grandparents are great. Not all people are great. But most of the time, I'd like to think grandmothers are pretty great. My grandmothers are two very different people. They each have their strengths and weaknesses, I would say. But they are both grandmothers. Mind you, neither of them play the piano. I don't know if either of them have ever played any instruments. Although I don't expect that to be the case. Feel free to sing praises to your grandparents in the comment section down below. They deserve appreciation if they're good ones, you know? I like the sound of the lights turning on. It's a satisfying tick. Now, I don't think there is an end to this game. This might just be infinitely regenerative. So I wonder what the longest anyone's ever walked for in this game is. I suppose we could use this time to get to know each other better. Hang on. I'll Google icebreaker questions on the internet, and then we'll answer them together. Icebreaker questions. Okay, here we go. A website called Prodigy. 50 plus unique icebreaker questions for kids your class will love. I feel like questions are ageless, you know? So we can start with these. What kind of music do you like? Now, I like rock music. I've grown up with rock music. My dad was in a rock band for many years, and he's still doing some solo stuff. He's doing some group stuff as well still. I love other kinds of music. I like country music, classical music, like horror music and horror films. Ugh, that's usually classical music. What else? I guess it depends on the Disney song, but like Disney music. All the High School Musical songs, pretty much. Anything Bo Burnham does, that's always great. Favorite band of all time, other than No Way Out, which was my dad's band, is the band Queen. Obviously a very famous band, and probably quite a typical answer. What kind of music do you like? Am I crazy, or am I hearing things in the background? No, I'm crazy. What's your favourite sport to play? If it counts, swimming? Swimming's a sport, right? I haven't gone swimming in years, though. Lack of confidence, you see. Body image issues. Not a fun topic. Other than swimming, I would say I did rounders in secondary school for a bit. That was pretty fun. Which is kind of like baseball, I think. Where were you born? I think I was born in Worthing Hospital in England. Nothing much more to say about that. I don't remember it very well. Tell me about the pets you have, or the pet you wished you had. I currently have 2 pets. They are both dogs. One of them is a 12-year-old West Highland Terrier. Her name is Misty. She's pretty old and grumpy. She likes to lay down a lot. And sometimes she does get pretty playful, but she doesn't like Kruger very much. And Kruger is my other dog. He's a 2-year-old mini Dachshund. He's a very energetic boy, and he loves annoying Misty. I'm definitely hearing something in the background. That could just be noises in my house. But yes, they are 2 very lovely doggos. They love lounging about with me. Sounded like someone was running up. I will come back. Don't like that. I'm going to keep going forward. But yes, they like to lay around and cuddles and snuggles. What's your favourite ice cream flavour? It used to be mint choc chip. Loved mint choc chip when I was younger. Then it kind of became cookie dough. But now I think I'm just kind of a basic vanilla. I love vanilla. It's such a soothing flavour. What instruments do you play or do you want to learn? I don't play any instruments. I used to play the recorder a little bit when I was in primary school. And then a little bit of guitar when I was in primary school as well, but the school kind of stopped doing music lessons for some reason. So I never really had the means to continue learning. I would love to learn to play the guitar, I think. And is there a weird instrument that I'd like to play? No, I think guitar is probably the one I'm most interested in at the moment. Maybe the piano. Yeah. What's your favourite YouTube channel? Oh, hello. Oh, that's an interesting one. My history with YouTube. Now that's something that's going to be discussed later on, actually. My history with YouTube? That's a fun story. Well, I think it's fun. You might not think it's fun. People have different opinions. Simple answer, top of my head, favourite YouTube channel. Oh, I'm gonna have to probably say Markiplier. It's sort of like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, Smosh recently, actually, I've been getting into a lot. Mainly because I started watching it because I found out Angela Giarratana's in it. And I'd seen her in like Star Kid plays. And I was like, no way, she's in Smosh? So she's why I started watching Smosh. Along with Vic Michaelis and Zach Oyama, because I found out they were on an episode of like TNTL. And I watched a lot of Dropouts, so I was like, this is crazy. So yeah, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, Smosh. I've been watching a lot of Gab Smolders recently as well. Like, she's constantly on in the background now. Whilst I just focus on things on my phone and stuff. She's quite calming to listen to. And Daz Black. My sister got me interested in Daz Black. And then Shoot From The Hip is the final one I'll say, because it's who's your favourite YouTuber, not like name all the YouTubers you watch. But Shoot From The Hip, they're an improv group based in the UK. They're very fun. Their improvised plays are so good. Okay, moving on. Which cartoon character do you wish was real? Oh, okay. Cartoon characters. Which one do I wish was real? Now I'm going to have to...
Oh dear.
Oh.
Mm. It's a hard life, Johnny Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm lost without him. Really am.
I didn't know there'd be talking in this. That actually gave me a jump scare.
First thing you do when he wakes up says, Ma, where we go today? I said, Ken, we've been out every day. Yeah. It's good to get out, Ma. Well, I don't know. We've been to too many places and we've got no place else to go. So he said, okay, we'll get in the car and go somewhere. So, all right, we'll get in the car. We'll get to the bottom of the driveway. He said, now, where we go, Ma? Where we go? I say, well, we went that way yesterday. We'll go this way today. So we go that way today. We'll just drive around. Nowhere in particular. Just drive around. And then we come to a coffee shop. come to the coffee shop and down with coffee. He said, come on, I'll buy you coffee. And then we'll have lunch or brunch, whatever the time happens to be. Breakfast, brunch or breakfast, whatever. Yeah, and that's what we did every day. And tomorrow come, same thing. Where we go today, Ma? I don't know, Kim. So we might keep driving south. And then if we find a motel there we'll look at, we'll stop there. We'll go into the motel and that's where we'll stop for the night. And that's what we did. We always had our bag in the back in case we found a place we wanted to stop. And that's what we did, John. In the afternoon, well, you know, what time do the races start, John? What time the races start?
We go all day.
So we get in the car and drive along. I'd have my crossword book, my reading book, because I know somewhere he's going to stop. Okay, I just want to pull in here for a few minutes, Ma. Okay? All right, Ken. He gets out. I get out my reading book and my crossword book. It's going to be more like half an hour. So he was happy doing what he was doing in the afternoon. I was happy doing what I do with my books and stuff. Yeah.
That really did just bring a smile to my face. That was crazy. I didn't know there was going to be talk. I didn't know we were going to get to hear Grandma talk. That was so sweet. God, when you've got good ones, grandparents really are the best. I know you're not technically allowed to say this, but I did have a favourite grandparent. It was my nonna's husband. So my nonna is obviously my Italian grandmother, who's my dad's mum. And my grandfather was her English husband. And it was so... He was a pretty stern-looking guy. Relatively old-fashioned, you know. Didn't care much for the Americans, but we don't have to go into that. He was... I found him lovely. I never really noticed how, angry he was, I guess, you would say, because... I don't know. I never really noticed. I really enjoyed... We would sit... So he'd have his specific armchair, as, you know, most grandfathers do. And there'd be an armchair next to his, and I'd sit with him whilst he was watching his game shows, like Eggheads, Countdown, stuff like that. I just remember holding his hand and watching stuff with him. Some of the comfiest memories of my life, I would say. Like when I would spend nights at my nonna's place and come down for breakfast in the morning, and he'd have a nice warm bowl of porridge whilst I had scrambled eggs. And then we'd all move to the garage and have a hot drink in the garage whilst watching just the cars go by on the main road. Oh, good times. He passed away when I was 12. I was in year 7. It was in the summer holidays in year 7. From year 7 to year 8, during the summer holidays. We were in temporary housing because my sister decided to set fire to our flat, and by accident, she didn't do it on purpose. She left a hob on and some clothes caught fire, and it was a whole thing, so we had to have some temporary housing for a while. And that was the summer that it happened, and it was devastating. Loved him so much. He would let me watch his old World War II DVDs, just like documentaries and stuff on the war for school projects. Oh. And then when he was gone, I would sit in the armchair next to his sometimes and just put my hand on the arm of the chair where his hand used to be. Yeah.
And then one day he was saying, oh, I want to get some petrol in the car. Come for a drive with me while I go down with petrol. I said, Kim, but we only went out yesterday. He said, I'll buy you a coffee. He knows I always like to have a coffee when I went out. So I'll buy you a coffee. Coffee would turn out to brunch. So we always had something nice. But I said, Ken, your tank is 3/4 full. I know that because I drive it too. You've got 3/4 full. He said, yeah, I just want to top it up. Where do you want to go? I just down to Bramble. To top it up, 20-minute drive down to Bramble. To top it up that much, John, top it up. Oh, God, John. Yeah, right, Ken. He was strange somehow. I don't know.
Oh, you picked him.
I wouldn't give him away for anything, John.
Oh.
We're not giving away for anything, my Ken. He was my Ken.
So sweet.
Don't know why he did that to me. It wasn't fair. But he must have been very unwell, John, for a long time because he never complained. He never complained of pain or anything like that. He never complained how unwell he was, John. It was Monday morning. I said to him, all right, Ken, get ready now and go. So I don't feel like going, I'm too tired. I said, well, you don't have to drive, I'll drive. I said, just put the seat back, put your head back and go to sleep, I'll drive. So we did that. But at the end of that day, he was quite tired. So we had our dinner and actually the tennis was on. Tennis was on that time in Melbourne. So we watched the tennis for an hour before he'd start getting to bed. Yeah. So he did that. But the next morning he woke up. He woke up before me. I said, can you awake already? He said, take him to hospital.
Oh.
Just like that. He never said anything about his sleep. He said, take him to hospital. So we packed up. But we raced down the freeway and that, got to the hospital. They made him comfortable. They just made him comfortable. Yeah.
Listen, I knew the game was gonna have some nice music, and maybe it was gonna be a bit emotional, just music-wise. I didn't expect us to get hit with grandparent feels, you know? Oh, that's crazy. You know, I don't think I ever recall my grandfather complaining about pain. How much pain he was in, if he was in any at all. I guess that's the thing about the older generation. The whole thing of, just suck it up. It's a pretty damaging mentality to have. Don't talk about it, you're just overreacting. You're just being weak. Just carry on with it. Keep calm, carry on. The British way. Which is a fine saying, but sometimes it's good to talk about things. See, my granddad was, I would say, a heavy smoker for a good while. He did stop eventually, but obviously by that point the damage is done. It was after my dad came home that day that we found out. And the crazy thing is that apparently, if it had been on a weekday and not on a weekend, the ambulances might have gotten there in time to actually help. Which is a sad thing to think about. He was a great granddad. I do miss him. Oh, okay. Let's keep walking. This is such a sweet conversation to be hearing. A bittersweet conversation to be hearing. I had more fun questions. You know, I can't even think about the cartoon character now. Let's do a weird question before we continue walking. How would you spend a rainy day? There we go, that's a nice one. I love rain. Rain is probably my favourite weather. If my dad allows it, I love for the family to go on drives in the rain. Just cruising around the countryside with the rain pattering on the window. That's my ideal rainy day. On occasions where that isn't a possibility, love sitting by the window listening to the rain fall, snuggled up with a blanket on the sofa, watching a horror film or watching some YouTube. That's how I would spend a rainy day. How about you guys?
So he spent 5 days in that hospital. But on the 3rd day, he was unconscious. He didn't talk to us after the 3rd day. They had him on morphine. He didn't talk to us after that 3rd day. For the last 2 days, we weren't able to speak to him because he couldn't answer us. We talked to him and talked to him and sing our hymns and say our prayers, but he couldn't open his eyes. He didn't realise we were there, couldn't he? And that made me feel very sad because why couldn't I see, because I was with him all the time here. Why couldn't I see how unwell he was? How unwell he was. At that time, they weren't allowing people into the rooms, and they allowed no visitors. But they allowed one of us to go into the room at a time. So when I was there and someone else would come to take my turn, and the doctor came in and he seen how unwell Ken was. He was really unwell, he was out to it. and they still would only let one or possibly another one to come to change over. And the doctor said straight away, he called the head nurse in. He said, the family can come and stay here in the room for as long as it takes. You're allowed to stay in the room. And we stayed with him. We stayed with him all day, all night, and all day, and all night for the second night. And at 5:30 on that second morning, we were all asleep there in the room. And they never said go, we were very quiet, and they were very quiet. And they said, yeah, Jennifer was the first one awake. And then I was sharing the lounge with somebody else. I was sharing the lounge. And Jen said, Mum, I think he's gone. It's like that. So we all woke up. And he wasn't breathing. And he was gone.
Oh, God. Who's your favourite superhero? Iron Man. I like Iron Man. Iron Man's a good superhero. I don't know, he's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Does Ben 10 count? He's pretty fun too. What's your favourite line from a movie? That's a fun question. Okay, so it's tied, I would say, between I want to play a game or do you want to play a game? You know, from the Saw franchise, one of my favourite film franchises in the world, or Get Away From Her, You Bitch from Aliens. Great sequel film to an amazing film. Yeah, those are good ones. What's the most unusual thing in your school bag right now? Considering I don't have one, I would say nothing. Remember that these are questions for children, apparently. Let's see. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? I would go to Italy. I don't like the heat. I'm very bad with heat. But Italy is a huge part of my family heritage. Obviously, my nonna is a full-blown Italian. We have some family over in Italy that we haven't seen in far too long. Plus, in Italy, they have pizzas the size of tables that are, like, super cheap. And if that's not a reason to go to Italy, then, like, what would be? So, Italy, yes, Italy would be the place. If you could invite 4 famous people to dinner, who would you invite and why? Okay. I would invite Sigourney Weaver, because she's a goddess and I love her. Elizabeth Bourgine, because I think she's a wonderful human being. And I know you aren't the characters you play. I know that very well. But I would love to see her make a chicken soup. Anyone who doesn't know Elizabeth Bourgine, if I am saying her name correctly, I could be completely mispronouncing it. She is French. She plays a character called Catherine in a show called Death in Paradise. And she has this chicken soup that she makes, and I've just always wanted to try it. Okay, 2 other people. See, I'm scared because I want to go all actors, you know? Oh. The dogs are going because my family has returned home. Let's see, 2 other people. Oh, okay, Brennan Lee Mulligan, does he count as a famous person? I would say so. Just because his mind is fascinating to me. Anyone who can hold my attention whilst doing just tabletop board games with no visuals and just talking with a group of people, fascinating to me. Love him, love his stuff. And who else? Okay. Oh, what's this?
Mum got you a donut.
Oh.
Oh, you're recording.
Yes,
Sorry.
I am. Literally. It's fine. I have just been interrupted and gifted a donut by my mother. My sibling brought the donut to me, but it is from my mother, so thank you, Mum. 4th celebrity, Tim Curry. An inspiration of a man. Would love to get in his head. Oh, but that kind of makes me also want to talk to Stephen King. Okay, you know what? It's fine. I gave my 4. Those are my 4.
Yeah, I think about him all the time. Biggest chunk of my life gone. And my life's not the same, even though I've got my children and all that. My life is not the same. I wake up in the morning, I think, I look at who's pillow next to me, and I think, he's not there. Not there. A horrible feeling that he's not there. So, why am I getting up? What am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? That beautiful photograph there, he's smiling there. I said, Kim, why are you smiling? It's not funny. You're always smiling. I love that photo behind me up there. He's always got the same beautiful smile. I said, why are you smiling? Because it's not funny.
My nonna, it was the saddest I'd ever seen her at that point in life, which makes sense when your significant other passes away. And the funeral was so painful. And again, I was 12, and you're right at that age, I think, where you're kind of like fully starting to realize like the true extent of emotions and what death is and how that affects people and how sad it really is. Regardless of what afterlife you believe in, it's always going to hurt that they're not with you anymore. And my nonna, the way she mourned was she went a whole year wearing nothing but black. For the whole year. She used to wear such bright coloured like jumpers, so cozy looking, like knitted jumpers, like embroidered dogs are on like the chest. There's this one in particular, it was like a bright red jumper with a little Westie embroidered on the side of the chest, and it was such a sweet jumper. And even after the year, I don't think she really ever went back to wearing those types of clothing anymore. And that's when all the other issues started setting in. You know, the Alzheimer's, the depression, things started getting worse. And especially with Alzheimer's, those things don't tend to get better. And yeah, so my granddad's death was really a catalyst for just such a sad time, and a continuing sad time for my nonna. And it's so painful to not be able to do anything about it, just have to watch it happen, have to deal with it, have to try and make it feel normal, make her feel normal and okay. And it's hard. It's certainly not easy. It's not a day that goes by where she's not thinking about him and wanting to be with him. And it's understandable, and it is soul destroying. So, let's just continue walking. Thank you for listening. Stay as long as you like. Oh, okay. I'm gonna stay for a little bit, I think. Just a little bit longer. And then I'm gonna go and hug my mum. And my dad. And my sister. And my sibling. And then my dogs. And you guys should hug all of your family and pets too. And friends, if they're nearby. And you're comfortable doing that. Everyone needs hugs. Even the people who don't like hugs. I used to not like hugs. And now I am an overly affectionate person. Let's see if we can... Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this story, by the way. This is a very vulnerable thing to put out into the world, and it's beautiful, and it's sad, and it's sweet. Okay. We're going to end it off with one more question. Would you rather have a pet dinosaur or a pet dragon? Easy. Pet dragon, all the way. Because that's just a dinosaur with wings. So... And you can fly it. And they're awesome. Oh... I didn't expect this to be as emotionally damaging as it was. I really thought we were just going to be listening to a grandmother play a piano. I didn't expect dialogue and just such sweet anecdotes. And to anyone out there who doesn't have someone to hug, I give you my virtual hugs, because everyone deserves hugs. Everyone deserves emotional safety. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for experiencing this with me today. For those of you who stayed this long, make sure you're emotionally well. And until the next video, farewell.